Hello and welcome to episode 10 of On the Trail with Miles James Dean. In today's episode, I am joined with a very good friend, Mr. Jim Kelly. For those of you who have been following the episodes, you know that Jim was the same gentleman that came out to pick up Blaze, my other horse, in Lewiston, Kentucky, and brought him back to Connecticut, and then came back to help or to be the driver and continue the journey through Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas. Jim.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to On the Trail.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jim, it's been a long time since I've seen you. I've talked to you. We've talked a number of times, but it's been a long time since I've seen you. You know, I went away for a while, not to prison, but I went out of the country to live for a while, and 13 years we haven't seen each other. It's good to see you, my brother. It's good to see you.
Always good to see you, Miles.
We're going to talk today about that trip that you and I shared together, some of the experiences that we shared while on the trail. And you caught up with me in Kentucky. Was it Lexington or Louisville?
I think it was Lexington.
Lexington, yeah. You flew into Lexington, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that was about the time that I picked up Sonny, that Kentucky Mountain Saddle horse.
Right after you picked up Sonny, yeah.
Right after, huh? Yeah. And then we rode from Kentucky. We rode into Fisk University together, right?
Yeah, we did.
You know, I don't know if you know, but Professor Mitchell passed away in 2014.
I did not know.
Yeah, the fantastic historian that we interviewed together. My last episode was attributed in memory of him. And so I want to continue the journey. So far, in the first 8 episodes, I've been on the journey by myself. And it's good to have you with me. It's good to have someone with me that can talk about and share some of the experiences that we share. And the first one we want to talk about, and I've already spoken briefly about him, was the gentleman that we ran into in what was it, Franklin, Kentucky? Reggie.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't share last names, but is it Reggie with the Mustang? You remember Reggie?
I do.
You do, right? Yeah.
The tough Mustang even more. That was a tough horse, man.
That Mustang he rode?
Yeah, he rode that horse pretty hard to keep up with Sankofa and Sonny.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
That horse kept up. And didn't look like he was training very much either.
And he trained him himself, didn't he?
That's what he said. He said he had another one at home he was training too. So, yeah, he was doing his own training on these wild Mustangs, but he was breeding them then or getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. Yeah, there were a few memorable, things that, or moments rather, that we shared, the three of us together. I know the two of you were in the Marines at Marine Corps. You guys shared that in common, right?
Yeah, we did. He was in toward the end of my tour.
Oh, he was just entering.
I'm sorry?
He was just entering when you were, yeah. But the other memorable moments was that time that he took us on that shortcut.
The infamous shortcut.
That was
yeah.
How many do you remember how many watering holes we stopped at?
at least 3, maybe 4,
Right.
and all in the same afternoon, which put us at the last watering hole. It was almost dark.
Yeah, we were riding. We were riding at what 9 o'clock at night.
And we didn't do that.
No, we definitely didn't like. We didn't do it. We didn't want to do it, and we didn't do it. But that night, oh my God,
We didn't have a choice.
we had no choice, did we?
We didn't have a choice.
And the road was just as dark as it wanted to be, and only the truck of your light, the lights of the truck
It was
were
lighting
kept.
up. Yeah,
That's what lit up the front.
on that shortcut,
Mm, mm, mm.
back roads.
Back roads, huh? Yeah, boy, that was a. I don't think I ever rode that late at night before or after that. That was a. I called it a 1 day odyssey.
That's like taking a shortcut in Texas. You never know where you're going to end up in Texas. Take a shortcut, then you could end up, back in Arkansas again.
Right.
So that little shortcut, we never looked at that on a map. We should have looked at that on a map.
I don't know if I could ever find it again.
Now we probably couldn't, because of the way that the route that we took. We would have had to do that the next morning if we were going to look at a map and say, is this really a curve or a straight line? Because I don't think it. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know whether it was 100 mile shortcut or I don't know how many miles, but boy, oh boy, it was around and around the mulberry bush we went.
Interesting, right? The water and holes are interesting too. So
Yeah. All of his friends, right?
did not know he rode that far by himself, but I guess he did.
We left Fisk and went into Memphis, Tennessee, and met some interesting people in Tennessee. I think I stopped and spoke at one, maybe, or two colleges
Yeah.
in Memphis,
I think
and then Memphis was right there at the border of Arkansas, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a picture, and you tell me what comes into your mind. Okay? Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can pull this up. Can you see that?
see that bridge. My first thought. My first thought when I see that bridge.
Yeah. What's your first thought when you see that bridge?
Fear.
Fear. Oh Lord. Just for the audience, that's the Tennessee Arkansas bridge, running from this side over to running west into Arkansas, and
That's the new bridge.
excuse me.
That's the new bridge.
Yeah, right.
That's a swaying new bridge.
Yeah, right. And let me see if I can pull up. See if I can pull up another image. And you tell me what. You tell me what you see here. You see that?
I see you riding Sankofa with the bridge in the background.
Do you? Yeah, right. Do you remember that that day? That was a Sunday morning, I think it was. And
Yes.
I don't know which radio or television station crew that was that came out, and
It was Channel 8, I believe.
and they wanted to know if I was serious about crossing that bridge, right?
Yeah, we better be glad that the police didn't see that. 'Cause, they told us after we crossed it that if they had known it, they'd have stopped us
Right.
from crossing the bridge. But, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Let me see if I can pull up another image for you. You want to tell the audience a little bit about that bridge?
Well, first of all, it was a sway bridge. and the side railings were only about 4 feet high at the most, and the wind was blowing across that bridge. So the tractor trailers were doing 70 miles an hour, creating more wind. And by the time the third or fourth one went by, I was praying that Sankofa didn't break out, because that side railing was so low he could be pushed right over that side rail, and that was a long way down to water, a long way down.
Yeah, that was probably the most nervous part of the journey for me. I I really did not think that I was going to be able to stay on him and get to the other side of that bridge. I on several, two or three moments, I thought I would get off and walk, because he just kept, every time those, how fast would you say those tractor trailers were flying by us?
70, 75 miles an hour.
And every time one flew by us, he would jump to the right.
And the right was where those short rails were.
Yeah. It was a,
That's why I was praying so hard.
it was a short rail, but it was a long drop, wasn't it?
It was almost looking like it was miles down there, but I'm sure it wasn't. But it looked like it was a long way. So
I'm gonna see if I can pull.
that I remember about that, though, the other thing is that if it wasn't for the relationship that you and Sankofa had, I don't think you could have rode another horse across that bridge.
I don't think I would have ever tried.
You two had a bond that he trusted you and you trusted him, and that's the only way y'all got across that bridge. That was mutual trust.
Yeah.
I don't think any horse that I know of you could have been on and crossed that bridge. Not with all that wind.
Yeah. Yeah, it was it was definitely something that I don't think I'd ever want to try again. I know I will never try it again. Sankofa was the only, you're right about that. I think he was the only horse that could have gotten me across that. I don't even think Sonny.
No.
No.
All that wind, those trucks going by.
Yeah. That trust is a big thing between two partners like that.
And y'all had it.
Yep.
Y'all had it. Thank goodness y'all.
Yep. I don't remember how long that bridge was. I just remember those tractor trailers kept flying by, and every time they flew by, he jumped. And every time he jumped, I tried to keep my hands from tensing up. And I know when we got halfway across the bridge, I said to myself, I don't think I'm going to make it. I think I'm going to have to get off and walk. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make it across that bridge. And
well, you did.
I just put it out there. I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. And we got across. So we get across the bridge, and we were in Arkansas. And
jump out that truck and kiss the ground. Thank you, Lord, for getting us all across this bridge. I don't think I want to even drive across that bridge.
It was some bridge, I know. You're right. So we get into Arkansas, and we're trying to find our way to. We had gotten word that there was someone there who was willing to put us up. I don't remember what day it was when we got to his place, but I know that we were close, and we needed directions. And we had the name, I think, of we had the name of the street, or we had some location, but we couldn't reach him on the phone, so we had to stop and ask someone for directions. And do you remember what they told us?
I do. I,
I've never heard nothing like that in my life. They told us to go down to the, what was it? What kind of tree was it? Do you remember it?
knew there was a tree in that deal.
Go down to the some kind of tree and make a left hand turn and go down to another tree and make a right hand turn. I said, Lord have mercy. I don't know my trees, but couldn't give us a street name. Just name of a tree. And
Well, it told us the trees. One tree was on the left side and another tree was on the right side. And we got that part right.
you got that? We had to guess at the trees, all right.
Of what kind they were, because there ain't a whole lot of difference between a maple and an oak in December.
Yeah, right.
No leaves on them, so they both hardwood, so they look about the same unless you get close up to them.
I think we just figured out that of all the trees we passed, once we got the one that didn't look like the ones that we passed, that must be it. And make a left there, and follow that all down until we see a tree that doesn't look like the trees that we just finished passing on the left, and make the right turn.
That's how we did it.
That's how we did it, wasn't it?
Yep, that's how we did it.
That was something else.
There was a driving guess.
That brother had a body shop, or was it a body shop that he owned, along with his Tennessee Walkers?
No, he had a speed shop.
Speed shop, yeah, that's right.
He had 4 chips in his Dodge 1-ton, and that thing would burn rubber, man, like it was a race car.
I remember.
He was getting 23, 24 miles to the gallon pulling the trailer with those same chips. So I was saying, I guess if you own a speed shop, you can afford to try out those chips, but for us poor folks, we can't shell out $300 or $400 to try something to see if it's going to work. But he obviously, he did, and he had a nice place. He just gotten into that place. I don't even think he had his address changed for his mail yet, even. But he had a large barn that he could ride his horses from one end to the other, which was about 180, 200 feet long. And so he could ride them whether it was raining or shining, whatever.
Yeah, he had a beautiful setup, didn't he?
He did. And that house was beautiful, too.
Yeah.
Had a little swimming pool back there and all.
Do you remember how many days we stayed there?
2. Okay.
Yeah, 2. And then we went into Arkadelphia, and another brother there was waiting for us. His name was Llewellyn. I don't know if you remember Llewellyn.
I do remember the name.
Yeah, very nice gentleman, and his brother. And I remember his brother gave us a bridle. I don't know whether it was at Bozell that he gave me or another type of bridle, but I believe it was at Bozell that he gave me. And that was in Arkadelphia. But no, actually, no. Arkadelphia was after we went to Gary's place.
Okay.
Because we rolled in on Gary's place. I think it was the 22nd. We rolled into Little Rock.
Okay.
And saw the Little Rock 9. And then it was after that Gary had the Christmas party at his place.
Yeah, well, we were in that big lot. We parked in a big old lot, parking lot, something like that.
That was his. I think he had a trucking company, right? And what was the name of that organization out there?
I don't remember that.
The name escapes me, but that's where they had their meetings, the Cowboys. But
they had Christmas party too.
Yeah. But do you remember when they first came out and met us on the trail? There were about maybe 7 or 8 of them, and they came out on the highway and brought us into Little Rock, and they all had Tennessee Walkers.
Was it raining?
Was it
That,
raining?
that the day it was raining when they met us?
No, I think it was the next day that it rained. It rained when we went into Little Rock to visit the statues of the Little Rock Nine.
Right. Okay.
But the day before that is when they met us on the trail, and asked. I brought Sonny out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, I brought now Sonny, for the audience, was a Kentucky Mountain saddlebred, and he was a gaited horse, very much like the Tennessee Walkers are gaited horses. And I pulled Sonny out, and I remember asking them, I said, because I knew, what Sonny had under his feet. I knew what he had and what he was capable of doing. And I said to them, what pace do you want to walk at? And they said very politely, you set the pace and we'll just keep up with you.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I gave Sonny that little click, right? And Lord, he took off at a walk and walked about 100 yards, and I stopped and looked back. And how long did I have to wait for them? 5 minutes or a little less than 5 minutes?
Less than 5, but right around 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. That was a walking horse. And that Tennessee Walkers, none of them could keep up with him.
I think they didn't realize the capabilities of Sonny until that guy who owned that place, that business, was his name Gary?
Gary, right.
Until you let Gary ride him, and when he came back, he didn't have much to say.
He didn't have anything to say. He said, do you mind if I get on him and take him for a ride? And no, of course not. He got on him and went up the road and disappeared. Made a left turn and disappeared. And came back. And when he came back, you remember what he did? He came back, stepped off of Sonny, took 2 steps back, and looked down at his front legs, then looked down at his rear legs, and then walked around on the other side and looked down again and came back around and still didn't say anything. And I had to say to him, I said, well, because remember he had offered me a Tennessee Walker.
Right, I remember that.
He had said, I've got a horse that'll get you across the country, a Tennessee Walker. When he came back and got off of Sonny and said nothing, and I had to finally ask him, what do you think? And all he did was looked at me and said, he'll do.
Yeah.
There was nothing that could outwalk that horse. Nothing out there that we ran into that could outwalk him.
There may have been something out there, but we didn't see it. That horse could cover some ground. He could probably have done more than those 20 miles a day you were putting on him.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think he wouldn't have been down either, because he seemed to be doing that pace at that speed he was doing, and it wasn't making him hot and sweaty all the time either. So I think he could have covered more if that was the plan, but there was no need to push him that hard. So
no, remember the routine we were doing. We were doing 10 miles in the morning on Sankofa.
Yep. Then come back, and on Sunny.
And that took an hour. And he had a nice smooth lope. I didn't push him either, just let him lope. And he covered 10 miles.
Yep.
And then you were waiting for me, and you had Sonny ready. And you take Sankofa and cool him down and water him down. And I got on Sonny, and then I rode 10 miles on Sonny at a walk. And I didn't get an extended walk. I just got his regular walk out of him. And he covered 10 miles in 1 hour.
Oh, he was a going horse now.
And then we sat. We took our lunch break. Came back in the afternoon and did the same thing in the afternoon. These horses had not worked a sweat, and I was covering 40 miles a day.
Yeah.
You you went with me whenever I got into Texas. Unfortunately, you weren't with me. I was sorry you had to go. But by the time I got into Texas, I realized what that 40 miles a day was doing to my body. All right? And I'm going to talk about that in when we get into the episode about Texas. But when we went to Little Rock, when we went to the Little Rock 9, you remember it was raining?
I do.
And they had men and women on that ride with us. And do you remember that woman? When
she said, "What kind of wuss are y'all? Y'all can't ride in the rain? I'm riding. I'm riding. No." And I'm like, wow, okay. But she was either the girlfriend or the wife of Gary. I think wife.
Oh, really? I didn't remember that.
But she said, "Oh, y'all must be wuss. I'm riding. I brought my raincoat." And
she was a rider. She didn't care.
I'm gonna finish riding.
Yeah.
And she did.
What was the highlight of the time that, in your mind, that we spent together between Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas?
Miles, the thing that I'm never ever gonna forget is that bridge.
Okay.
I see that bridge in my mind. I know exactly what it looks like. I know exactly how it swayed. I know how far it looked from the bridge down to the water. Everything about that bridge. After all these years, at that whole trip, that bridge is something that don't seem to be able to forget. And when we got to the other side, I felt so good that we got there safe. I was really pleased with that. Now, we had some other good times. We met a lot of good people. In Kentucky, I think we met some people on the side of the road, husband and wife who gave us some, I think it was some cookies or something. I'm not sure what. And then came back and gave us a bag of feed. But we met a lot of nice people on that trip between Kentucky and Arkansas. But if you ask me, the thing that I'm never going to forget is that bridge. I'm never going to forget Reggie, because he's such an interesting personality. But I think I remember the people. We didn't really run into any outright blatant racism on that leg of the trip.
Not at all.
And I think I remember that because it stood out in my mind that we didn't. And based on where we were, I was thinking that we should have, but did not. So.
No, not at all. Not at all. And the police were our biggest supporters.
Everywhere we went.
Everywhere. We're going to leave it there and pick it up next week. Part 2 of my trip down memory lane with Jim Kelly. And in the next episode, you're going to meet 2 men whom I hope by now have decided that it wasn't worth it and have reconciled their differences. So, until next time, stay tuned and pay close attention And as always, happy trails to you. Until we meet again.